Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Neptune Sunday. It's your boy V Moss here. Man, repeat guest, third time's a charm with my brother, the one and only your favorite writer's favorite writer, Justin Tinsley. Welcome to the show.
My guy, my dog, my brother. What's up, man? It's always a pleasure to be back here, dog.
Man, so I'm gonna give this disclaimer because I'm all about keeping it a buck, being transparent.
Yep.
Have not released the episode since August. I got three in the tuck. This is gonna be number
Okay.
four.
Okay.
So everyone that's listening, appreciate your patience. Again, I'm gonna always say sorry for the wait to my brother, Corey Towns, who is the episode that's long enough for two parts. That's episodes 1 and 3 I have in the tuck. I mean, 1 and 2 I have in the tuck because I recorded that back in August. But
Word.
life been lifing, yo, and Tens
Yeah.
Tens
Yeah.
will attest to that.
Yeah. Nah, man. You had a major move.
This is the
A
first
major life
episode.
shift.
Yeah, this is the first episode recording a new crib, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You were just showing me the crib. That joint look real nice.
Is because I'm working at Hampton University, which let's get into that real quick.
Yeah.
My brother Justin Tinsley, my classmate from Hampton University.
Yup.
We
Yup.
just spent some time together recently at what a lot of people in our community are saying is the best Hampton homecoming that has ever happened in at
Yeah.
least in recent history.
Yeah. Nah. All right. So we graduated in 2008, and we try to get there every year if we can. You know what I'm saying? I think out of the 15 years I've been out, I think I've missed maybe three homecomings, and I go back every year. It's such a fun time. But nah, this year was, I don't know, it was different, man. That the Banks party was a game changer. Like it's basically like a music festival, you know? And then obviously Saturday, the day of the game, tailgate, all that good stuff. Like the energy was just like on 10 like the entire time. It's hard to explain, but if you were down there, you definitely know it. Like that the approval rating from this homecoming in the group chats I've been in is like remarkably high.
The vibes were immaculate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Shout out to everyone involved. I don't want to take a lot of credit. I'll take some credit, but not a lot, specifically for
Hey,
Saturday. Saturday had a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that y'all have no idea was wrong or causing craziness, which is good.
I can't even begin to imagine. I can't because I know to put an operation that size and that magnitude, I completely understand that there's always something going on. But the beautiful thing is, like you said, nobody ever knew.
Right.
And that's how you know you was doing your job. So salute to you, salute to everybody who had a hand in making this homecoming the best one yet, for sure.
Yeah, man. So before we get into our discussion, let's hop into a couple of current events because we can't get on and have a conversation without talking about some other stuff that's going on.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
So first off, my man Andre is dropping his flute album tomorrow.
Yeah, the flute album, dog. Like, hey man, I'm just really happy to see Andre. You know what I mean? He seeing him always makes me happy, and it's just somebody who, his music. I'm sure I speak for you as well. Like his music is part of the soundtrack of our lives.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so just to see him, just to lay eyes on him, because you don't really get a chance to see him too much. You only hear him maybe like once or twice a year with like new verses. But whatever he want to give us, I'm a listen to it. Hey, if it puts Huey to sleep, it's gonna be album of the year for me. So I dig it. Let's get popping with the flutes, I guess.
Yeah, man. Bring the flutes out, Guru.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, man. And it's a perfect, I don't know if we've told this story on the podcast before about how we were lucky enough to have Big Boy give
Oh
us a
yeah,
tour
oh
of
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was like that was over 10 years ago, man.
That was 2011. I
That's
only know because it pops up on my Facebook every year. I was like, yeah, that is crazy. That
yeah.
was that was a fun night.
Yeah, we just happened to be down in Atlanta for some for A3C, I think.
Yep,
And
it was A3. Dog. That hotel room we stayed in, dog, was garbage, dog. We were so broke, but we went down there and had a good time. I
man,
remember you opened the door to the bathroom and it was like a dead roach in the bathtub. I'm like, oh God, dog. Like we gotta get some more money soon because we was living in the worst accommodations, but we had the greatest time down there though.
we went down there, cheap JetBlue flights from Richmond to Atlanta, nonstop,
Where
hopped off at the Days Inn.
to
And
days in, boy.
I'm talking about sleeping on top of the covers with all your clothes on.
Yo, that's exactly what we were doing. That place was so bad, man.
Oh man, but Big Boy showed us a lot of love that night. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
love.
no, for sure.
Shout out to him and Dre. And it's always cool when we talk about that story because we say 10 plus years ago, like Bamboo and Cross was kids just coming from their little league football game, hanging out
Yeah,
there. And now they grown and now they got their own kids, which is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Like big boy is granddaddy fat stats. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, one more thing. So every time we get on, we can't help but maybe it's just the timing, but we always got to talk about the boy.
oh man.
I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's because we his age group and there's always something. I don't know. Maybe we just in sync or something. But the boy told us after for the all the dogs that he was going to take a break.
Yeah, man, that was the shortest break ever. That was the shortest break ever. And like the crazy thing is both of his scary hours projects have been fire.
Fire.
You know what I mean? So it's like, am I gonna listen to this and get annoyed all over again? It's like, bro, you had these in the tuck. Although he said he recorded all this music this week, so we'll see. But I mean, look, anytime you can have artists continue to release music, it's a great thing, right? Because it just adds to a catalog. But it feels exhausting at times now because it's like I feel bad because I'm over here like quote unquote complaining about new music from one of the biggest artists in the world, but like maybe taking a step back to put some more focus in on a project. If you don't need 23 songs on an album. You just like, yo, give me the best like 12 to 14. But anyways, am I gonna listen? Of course I'm gonna listen. Like, I'd be a fool not to. But
Yeah, man.
that was the shortest break ever.
The tour they had just announced with him and Cole just seems
Mhm.
so random. After you say you're taking a break, you just came off a tour. Now you're doing part two of a tour, and you're adding
Yeah,
Cole. But the dates were weird because it's like it looks like some college football game day dates. Like it's
right. Yeah, no.
no real major cities on there.
Yeah, no. I think these were some of the cities that he didn't get to hit on. It was all a blur. So, like I don't want to call them secondary market or anything like that, but it's not the New York, the LAs, the Chicago's, the Atlantas. So these are the cities like the Pittsburghs and the Louisvilles. I think Louisville is on there. But yeah, so I mean, if there's a bag to go get, he's going to get it right now.
The jokes were out today talking about this is just more proof that this man has a horrible gambling debt that he's just trying to.
I saw those tweets too. It was like, yeah, I know an addiction to FanDuel when I see it. I mean, I hope that's not it. I hope that's not it, but I definitely saw those.
The video was crazy though. First person shooter joint with J. Cole. One of the best videos I've seen in the past few years. So like I
Yeah,
always make sure that we give this man credit because I don't want to we always have this conversation where we don't want people to think that we're not fans. Like we just appreciate the good stuff and we are not gonna not tell you when the rest of it is not good. Like
yeah, no, for sure. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you when it's like, yo, and it could be just me. Like this is just my singular opinion. It's like, nah, it didn't really do that for me. You know what I mean? But I'm also the dude I've written several times before, years up to this point. I'm like, yo, dude is the best hit maker we've ever seen in hip hop. Like that's gotta account for something, right?
yep.
So yeah, man, we're just trying to be honest with our listens. So I'm excited to listen because, like I said, Scary Hours 1 and Scary Hours 2 were flames. So I have no doubt that this third might be the best project he's dropped in a minute.
And again, I hope it's like only a few songs, right? Like
Yeah,
don't overdo it, bro. Give us three.
I was gonna say 3 to 5. Like Scary Hours has never been a 20-track project.
Right.
We understand that Scary Hours is for you to get in, you drop some heat, you get on, you go crazy basically on all those songs, and then you get out.
Right.
Just to satisfy that other segment of his fandom was like, why don't he just rap the entire time? He was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna give you this. We'll see. We'll see in a few hours.
See, shout out to the boy.
Hey, always got us talking. If nothing
Always.
else. Oh, if
Always.
nothing else.
All right. So we here for a very, very important reason.
Yeah.
This week we celebrated 20 years of Jay-Z's The Black Album, aka the retirement pump fake album.
Oh man.
But no doubt one of the best albums of our generation from
Mhm.
any genre. And I think that it's a very interesting time to celebrate 20 years of that album, to go back and think about where we were 20 years ago,
Yeah.
to have Jay-Z resurface in the way that he has with the Book of Hove, which he didn't really know anything about, but also the interview with Gayle King, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. But just the juxtaposition of all of that and all the different perspectives, I think it's a great album and it's going to be a great conversation. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
So Tins, tell me, let's set the picture for everybody. In 2003, in the fall, like we are in first semester of our senior year of high school, which if anyone knows, senior year of high school is a very important time in life. You finally have reached that moment where you made it to the top of the top and you got to enjoy it.
Yeah, because it ain't
And,
gonna last long.
yeah. So what are your memories of when that album came out?
Man, so the album came out obviously 20 years ago this week. November 14th, I believe, is the actual anniversary day. By then, I knew I was going to Hampton because I went and got basically accepted on the spot. They basically had a prospective students weekend where you stay in the dorm, all that, and it was cool. And so I was like, all right, bet that's where I'm going to school. And so I remember that time in my life. I remember I was having a lot of fun in high school, but I remember feeling like, yo, man, next year I'm going to be in college.
Right.
And so I just remember that transition. And with Jay, he had been hyping it up all year. Like he had been seeing it like LeBron's games when he was in high school. And then obviously after he got drafted. So, and I just remember Jay saying, like, this is my last album. It's the retirement album. And I remember thinking to myself, like, how exactly does a rapper retire? You know what I mean? So like you're just gonna go the rest of your life and not make any music. But he was adamant about that. So I was like, hey man, this may be the last Jay-Z album for at least a few years. So let's see what he's talking about on there. And he was talking on that album, bro. He was talking.
Yeah, he was definitely talking. So obviously everyone knows I'm a huge Neptunes Pharrell fan. That's why this podcast exists. But
For sure.
2002, 2003, Kanye was my guy. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
at the time I was more excited about the Kanye tracks than I was about the Pharrell joints. But I do remember specifically whatever leak, because that was in the beginning when we first started doing what we do, Tens.
Leaks. Oh man.
I had
Ooh-wee.
I had Changed Clothes, Encore, and Lucifer somehow.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
those of you who know me well, knows that my senior year of high school, I was pushing my childhood wood-plated 1989 minivan. So I had to put those three songs on the tape that I
Yep.
would ride around going to school. Shout out to my little sister Erin and my little brother Rashid that used to ride to school with me. They live in the neighborhood. And it used to be, I would rewind that joint all the time. Like Encore, do you remember when you first heard Encore? Like
Yeah.
Kanye put his foot in that joint.
Yeah,
And
he
like
did.
Lucifer too, like
Yeah, Lucifer was crazy. I remember when that joint leaked. I remember that.
so that was probably like before having those songs before the album drop was big for me. I remember going to a party and bringing that Change Clothes and playing it for the first time for people at a party and them going crazy for it. Like that album was setting the tone for the senior year in a major way, which was really dope.
Yeah. Yeah, dog. Like, I mean, there were so many big records from that joint. Like, I remember like PSA, the first time I heard that, I was like, oh wow, he's retiring off this.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Like, cause he was for the bulk of that album, like Jay-Z is in such a crazy pocket, bro. Like going from like December 4th to What More Can I Say? And then backing that up with Encore. It's like, yo, this dude at that point in time in 2003, Jay was hell bent on telling people, like, nah, man, I'm the best to ever do this.
Yeah, man.
And that's basically what more can I say is about. He was like, dog, I dropped the album every year since '96. I done did this. I'm putting up numbers that nobody else has ever done before as a solo rapper. And so you could tell like that was really on the crux of his mind, letting people know how great he was. And now, like when you look at him now in 2023, it's like he don't have to tell people that anymore. Like when he walks in the room, he gets that respect. It's like, yo, he's one of the greatest wordsmiths of all time. Not just rappers. I'm talking about people who do public speaking or
Yep.
whatever it is may be. He's one of the greatest public speakers of all time. So just hearing that album and putting my mind back into where it was in 2003, like man, like it's a timestamp of a project for damn sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just listening to it again this week, like you
Yeah.
talked about the sequencing on those first
Mm-hmm.
7, 8 tracks is immaculate, bro. Like the
Yeah.
transitions are crazy. You almost just get in the zone of the songs that you have to go back and really listen to how crazy he's going on all of them. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you talk about, I think probably those 3 straight songs when you go from December 4th to What More Can I Say to
Yep.
Encore, where the
Whew.
third verse, he's like, listen, are you listening? Like, I want to make sure that you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of those verses are very much like, if you're not paying attention, I want you to hear what I'm saying, bro. Like, he was,
I am the best.
yeah.
Like I'm that dude, and I know I'm that dude, and y'all know I'm that dude because look at my body of work. Like it was great. Like I was like, man, if that's his last album, he went out with a bang, and that's all you can hope for. You know what I mean? Like the whole man. We'll get into like our favorite songs and all that on there, but yeah,
One of my other favorite, like I think another highlight of the album,
yeah.
I think is Threats. I think
Ooh,
Threats might be one of the most underrated B-side Jay-Z joints, like because it's like high quality raps.
ooh,
But he's in such a weird, like not weird, but he's in such a special like floating pocket on it that's like very much so casual that fits perfectly over the Knife Wonder beat. Like
dog.
think people really understand how important that record is because of how it put Knife Wonder on the map. And it
Yeah,
like also ushered in this whole era of people like Knife Wonder who was like these backpack producers making beats on Free Loops. And like, yo, he did it on Free Loops. Like once we got the hand, me and Marcus was on Free Loops. Like, yo, if
yeah,
Wonder can do it, we can do it, dog.
yeah. That man Marcus used to be in the lab, bro. I'm like, man, don't you have class?
Yeah, man. But
Oh man.
this is real dope. Said killed it too.
Yeah, man. Like that, and that's such an important record because it's like right in the middle of the album, and it kind of like blends both sides of the album. I think the first half is more like I'm just gonna tell you why I think I'm the best ever. You know what I mean? I set trends, I do all of this, and I think the second half of the album, especially when you really get to like Lucifer, to Allure, to my first song, it gets like really introspective and inward looking, I guess you could say, and
Yeah. Especially with Moment of Clarity too, which
yeah,
I don't think I really realized it until this week is like if you think about the few songs that Eminem produced that you think like you actually like that stick with you,
yeah,
kind of can hear the Dr. Dre influence in the way the beat is kind of created.
hmm
Like Moment of
yeah,
Clarity sounds like that's an Eminem doing a Dr. Dre impersonation, but still dope. I thought it was a
yeah,
dope. But the song, like you said, to the introspective, like Pop died, didn't cry, like that's big time, like
yeah,
Jay-Z letting us know, like he said with Gayle King, right? Like he said in the interview that those albums were his therapy. So I think that that's a perfect song that really
yeah,
kind of epitomizes that, like just showing a side of him that he did in front of our faces every album, whether
yeah.
people are listening or not is the question.
That's the crazy thing because like people will so often the conversation will go to like, oh well, commercial this, commercial that, like Jay-Z is just doing rapping about, his money or whatever the case may be. I'm like, no, man, you listen to every single one of his albums, like he really let you in to whatever was going on in his life or what was going through his mind when he made this song. I like, volume one has You Must Love Me on there. You know what I mean? That was one of the most vulnerable rap songs I've heard. So Moment of Clarity is definitely right up there. And like, I mean, he's like you said, man, the song starts with like, Pop died, didn't cry, didn't know him that well, between him, doing heroin, me doing crack sales or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that shit is it's not even peeling off the band-aid, it's ripping the band-aid off.
Yep. Yep. To start the song, like that's setting the tone for the whole
Yeah.
song. Like
You're like, oh man.
it's almost like that the Moment of Clarity, because that verse is about his dad and the personal stuff. Then the second verse, I think, is when he starts talking about the comparisons. Truth be told, I'd rather be lyrically Talib Kweli on a
Mm-hmm.
rap like common sense, but I did 5 mil
Yeah.
rap like common sense. I
Yeah,
was
that and
like,
that
oh God.
man, that bar will always be crazy. That
Yo.
bar will always be. It's like Moment of Clarity is such like I think it's probably an underrated Jay-Z song. When
Mm-hmm.
people talk about like his best songs ever, I'm not saying it's like a top 10 J record or anything, which speaks to the depth of his catalog. And I know we'll get more into that in a little bit, but like Moment of Clarity is a very, very solid record, bro. And
Yep.
in 2003, Eminem was Eminem. Like you work with him in any regard, like it's gonna get eyes on it because you just had to have eyes on Eminem in 2003.
Right.
So,
That's definitely obviously later in life we got the tour with the two of them, but
yep,
it's always good to have people at that level. Anytime we have people at that level, it's very similar to J. Cole and Drake, right? People
yep.
that are competing at the highest level but still can respect and collab is always, you hope that the result is always something good. And with Moment of Clarity, it definitely was. And Renegade, which was amazing.
Ooh, ooh, Renegade boy. Ooh, man.
All
Like
right.
that's the wrong album, but yeah, Renegade fire.
Okay, so let's just start with the negative. What do we think is the worst song on Black Album?
Justify My Thug. Yeah, yeah. It's that it's crazy because that song just sounds so awkward within the flow of the album. And it's just like I could never. I mean, of course he's rapping on there, but like that would probably be my least favorite song.
Listen, man, I agree. First of all, I agree.
Yeah,
Second of all, dog, he is wasting some high quality raps on that song. Like,
yeah,
I think we it's the hook that throws it off. The chorus with the Madonna thing, like
yeah,
it just didn't work.
yeah.
So, but I wanted to. It's that song is special because it was a collab with DJ Quick, which is like I don't think they ever work with each other outside of that, right? Like
I don't think so, but no, yeah, that
so
was
that
quick.
being a big deal, like him collaborating with
Yeah,
somebody from the West Coast like that for the first time and doing it on that album, I wanted to make sure that we didn't have some East Coast bias. So I hit up another one of our former guests, your friends and mine, my man Trayvon Edwards,
oh my guy.
Compton's own. Shout out to Trey, just won an award from Ad Color for his work at
Yeah.
White and Kennedy. So shout out to Trey. But I messaged Trey. I said, Trey, me and Ten's talking about Black Album. I didn't tell him that that was going to be the worst song, but I wanted to see what he said about it. So I just
Yeah.
said, like, what was your perspective, out in Compton for that song? And here's what Trey said. The Madonna sample didn't move me. Very underwhelming. Quick has way better beats. Probably people's least favorite track. Two of my faves collaborating and the shit the bed. Hove says some shit though. He always does some beats just be meh.
That's a very, very accurate description, man. Like I couldn't have said it better.
He said, I pretended to like it, but I couldn't do it. And I was like, appreciate that, bro. But that made me feel better because I didn't want
Yeah,
to. Because when he was on the show, we talked about, he talked a lot about DJ Quick and how much he was a fan and how that influenced his musical taste and stuff. And so I just wanted to make sure because like I got a lot of respect and I know work
yeah.
from DJ Quick, but I'm not the biggest fan. But I didn't want to make it come off like we was just
Oh
these
yeah, no, 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 no,
Virginia guys that don't want to listen to
no.
the DJ Quick.
I love DJ Quick. I do, man. Like shout out to our homeboy Brian Robinson. Like he
Rob.
put me on the Quick back at Hampton. You know what I mean? Obviously, I knew who DJ Quick was. I was familiar with his music, but like he developed like a real fandom in me for DJ Quick because I understand how important he is. So like Trey said, man, to have Jay and have Quick, you like, oh man, they about to drop some crazy shit. And then it's like, oh, this is it.
Because when you think about like the stuff that we know Quick for and that
Mm-hmm.
it's like really love for, it's really that groovy, that bounce. And that
Yeah.
that type of song didn't really fit the album.
Nah.
So I think what he did fit the album, it just didn't land. Like it
Yeah.
fit more than one of his more, quintessential Quick beats would have sounded like, but it just didn't land. But again, back to Jay-Z,
Yeah.
the raps on there were still like
Nah, he was spitting. I mean, like Trey said, he always does. You know what I mean? He always does.
that's the one where he says, I never asked for anything I wouldn't ask of myself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what do you say? Honor, loyalty. Hold on, I gotta look it up now because that's one of the Jay-Z lines that
That's one of his hardest lines.
one of his hardest lines.
Yeah. But some beats beat man. Shit. I mean, I couldn't have said it better.
I never ask for nothing I don't demand of myself. Honesty, loyalty, friends, and then wealth. Death before dishonor. I tell you what else. I tighten my belt before I beg for help. If that ain't some very epitome of Jay-Z, Sean Carter in the year
Yeah.
2003 raps,
Yeah.
whew,
Yeah. This was Jay, his style was starting to change a little bit then, because obviously he was wearing the button ups and
right,
things like that. But like we weren't too far removed from the era where Jay-Z was wearing the oversized Averex jacket. You
right,
know what I mean? And walk out with a do-rag on. It's just it's crazy to think that the different chapters of his life and his career. So it's like we've seen the entire story.
right. That's
Like, and
crazy.
Jay, I think what Reasonable Doubt dropped when he was like 26, 27. He felt like he was old. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
Come to find out that just the beginning of a crazy catalog. And look, here we are almost 30 years later talking about
Crazy,
it.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that we agree what the best song is,
Oh yeah, Allure.
100%. I
Oh
think
yeah. Yeah.
Allure is not necessarily the song that you play in the party, but I think it's still the best song.
It is
And
one of the greatest riding songs ever. Like you just throw that joint on in the car and like you on the highway, like it's a very hypnotic song.
mhm.
And it's like I always imagine like if they were to ever shoot a video, it'd be like if Jay was like in the mafia and he's like this mobster just like looking back over the course of his life and just remember what he had to do to get there. And that's basically what Jay was saying in there. Like Jay, he took you right there. He was like, I never felt more alive than riding shotgun and Klein's Green 5 until the cops pulled guns. And I tried to smoke weed to get me to fix the knee with the game that took my pulse with no results. Like he was, oh my God, he was in such a rare pocket on that joint. And Pharrell and the Neptunes, man, they just laced him, bro. They laced him with like an underhanded softball pitch. And it was like, yo, go knock this joint out the park. And he absolutely did. It is the perfect blend of high quality raps, high quality production. Like that's gonna be one of those records. Like I'll be listening to that song for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life.
Yeah, man, like a Russian mobster drinking distilled vodka.
I
Like,
could look.
and that's what Pharrell, like the pitch in
Yeah.
Faded Black is like, yo, it's like Carlito's Way. And that's exactly we got Ho's version of
Yeah.
Carlito's Way, which I think is really cool when you think about it too. With like Allure sets the Jay-Z tone for the American Gangster album.
Yep.
All
Yep.
of that remorseful, I'm a gangster, but I got the heart, and I don't want to do this, but I got to make this money. My
Right.
all like it's crazy how when you sit back at this point in his career and we have all these conversations about the music and you start
Yeah.
to feel these connections, like it's crazy. And Jay-Z is just done. He's the best ever for a lot of reasons, bro. A lot of
Yeah.
reasons.
It's crazy. Like when you look back at 2003, knowing what we know now, like he wasn't even halfway through his career yet.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Like 96, Reasonable Doubt, '03, the Black Album, that's 7 years. And
And
we
here
got 20 more years ahead of that.
20 more years after that, bro. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy when you think about that.
Yeah, man. Like 2003, him and Beyonce, they had just made it official that they were actually dating. You know what I mean? Like Rocket. And this is also a very interesting talking point as it comes to this album. Like little did we know, like Rockefeller was crumbling
Right.
from the inside. Like obviously Jay and Dame had like grown apart and Jay left the label and all that's almost 20 years, man. Like to produce this album when so much around you is changing, some, by your own design and some, out of your control in certain cases. And I'm sure Dame felt the same way too. Like so now when I listen to that album, I always listen to it with that knowledge too. It was like, yo, Rockefeller they were nearing the end with this album. And it felt like the ending of something when you listen to the album.
So speaking of the Pharrell Carlito's Way, I think Fade to Black's that movie,
Mm-hmm.
the impact of that movie and just adding that element to this whole retirement and this whole album, I think at the time put this whole situation in a different lexicon because it's like I'm making this album, it's gonna be my last album. I'm spitting, I got the producers I need,
Yep.
I'm doing all the things that I need to do promo wise, but I'm about to go do the actual show for it. and sell out Madison Square Garden, be the first rap person to do it, and I'm gonna record it and make it in a video. I mean, into a movie. Like
Yeah,
that whole part of it takes it to a different level. But what are some of your favorite moments from Fade to Black?
man, Fade to Black to me is one of the in my personal influence. That's probably one of the top 10 documentaries I've ever seen. And not just music, not just hip hop. I'm saying documentaries, period. So I love that joint. I love the scenes with Pharrell. I just love seeing like Jay in the studio, like cooking up, just like yo, him just listening to a beat, just doing this. And it's like, man, this is it feels like such a privilege to have that access. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at it. But one moment in particular is when he was freestyling over LL's "I Need Love."
Mm,
Like I for whatever reason I love that. I love that scene. And it's just to see how much he had MSG packed out in 2003.
crazy.
That man has since been on 2 tours with his wife, tour with Justin Timberlake, that you know what I mean, tour with Kanye for a little bit. Like we just didn't know any of that was coming though,
Right.
which is crazy.
Crazy.
Which is crazy.
And then you talk about the access, like we take that
Yeah.
access for granted now. Everyone's
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
podcast, everyone's got
Hmm.
the camera in the studio. You can Google whoever you
Yeah.
that's got some kind of
It's a great
footage.
point.
They know what they're doing of them making your favorite song. Like
Hmm.
whenever I stumble upon stuff of P in the studio with certain people, and I'm just like, how did I miss this? But I'm like, well, where would you see it? It wasn't like on TV.
Yeah.
It wasn't like something that was promoted. It's just like we did it. It's on YouTube. Done. But like that type of access was so crazy to have in 2003.
Yeah.
Like even for us to look back on it and like rewatch it, like I got the DVD, I'll rewatch it every now and then. But like to go back and look on that is crazy. And also let's give them credit because they saw the future because they did that with Backstage, and that was crazy at the time too in 1998.
Backstage,
I mean,
another classic.
Backstage is like 2000, but either way, like
Yeah.
both of those were like ahead of their time. Yo, these are our favorite rappers. Like
Yo.
behind the scenes, behind the curtain. Look at what they're doing.
Salute to you, Moss. Like shouting out Fade to Black and shouting out Backstage. Like those are two like stone cold classics, bro. Backstage, we used to watch that at Hampton all the time.
Classic.
We used to like Will used to be there watching it with us. Like it was just that was such a crazy documentary. And just to see young Jay-Z, young DMX, like it's again, man, it's a timestamp, and that these type of things really matter because that's how we preserve these stories. That's how we preserve, you know, this art form, man. Like just having great cultural touchstones like both of those documentaries are.
Yeah, man. One of my other favorite moments, obviously P, but Timbo,
Yeah,
Fade to Black. I always look at that moment and think that the beat for Dirt Off Your Shoulder is my least favorite of the three. But at the same time, I feel like it fit Jay-Z the best. So
yeah.
like that Ludacris ended up getting the potion joint. Like I love
Yep.
that beat, but I don't know if Jay-Z would have fit.
That beat was perfect for Luda.
Yes. The
What he
first
liked to
joint,
do.
I don't know if anybody ever got that first beat, but like something about that first beat I liked a lot better than Dirt Off Your Shoulders. But Hove did what Hove does on Dirt Off Your Shoulders
Oh, he
one of
was
those
talking
songs.
on that joint.
Talking.
He was talking on that joint, dog. Like, nah, like you said, man. Timberland, Pharrell, Neptunes, like VA is all over this album, and I think that's part of our connection to it too. You know, like Dirt Off Your Shoulder was a hit record.
Smash.
It was a hit record, and Pharrell gave him the best song on there, Allure. Like those are two undeniable connections to Virginia, and so I know both of us, you know, harbor a lot of really fond memories and experiences to this album, in part because of that.
And I think that's also part of the reason why I think maybe not part of the reason, but just an additional layer to our love and respect for Jay-Z as an artist is because he's been so connected to us. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, even when you talk about Teddy Riley, City is Mine, all of, with Chad on the saxophone, to all of the songs that he's done with Pharrell and Chad, all the songs that he's
yeah,
done with Timbo, his relationship with Missy, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that, you know, his relationship with just everybody in the Timberland camp, you know, like because it was close with
yep,
Aaliyah. Aaliyah's not from Virginia, but just from being around and showing those relationships, I think that's part of the reason why we really connect with him. And so the other episode, so the 4 episodes in the tuck, if you include this one we're recording right now,
Yep.
first two is Corey Towns part 1 and part 2. The third one is a battle of me and Steve going at it, Neptunes versus Timbo Jay-Z features. I mean Jay-Z collabs.
Ooh, 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 there was some hits played.
But
Man,
you know how Steve is. Like Steve brought some, you know, he
nah, Steve did his homework. Steve did his homework, and I ain't mad at him.
yeah,
I
but that joint
appreciate
was
that.
fun. That joint was fun for sure.
Yeah, I
Because
can't wait to listen to that.
Timbo got him, and you know it's a couple of joints that Hove got with Timbo that people be forgetting about. Like yeah,
Yeah, people remember like the Big Pimpins and
yeah,
records like that, but like nah, they got some like non-single type stuff
yeah,
together.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Big time, man. Big time. So let's wrap it up. The last 2 questions, man. I think the let's go with the easiest one first.
Okay, all right.
I think the easiest one is when we talking about ranking, speaking to that conversation, we talking about ranking the Neptunes collabs from this album and all of them. I think it's easy for me to say, and I talked about on the show before, if you're talking about top 5 Neptunes and Jay-Z, I think Allure is in there.
Oh,
Arguably
for
number
sure.
one. Arguably number one.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think that Change Clothes makes the top 5, but I think Change Clothes is not bad. That's not bad. I
Yeah.
enjoy it, but I
It's
don't.
not my favorite Jay-Z song. It's not my, but again, he be rapping on them joints.
He be rapping,
Yeah,
and
that's the
the
thing. Like,
beat, yo, and the beat is just so like, come on, man. We got models, we got button ups. Like
yeah.
it is what it is. You take it for what it's worth, and you're like, yo, it's not bad. Like it's
So
cool.
we talking about all of their collaborations, right?
All of their
Okay.
collaborations.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Change Clothes in the top 5 because you still got I Just Want to Love You,
Hmm.
which that was a monster of a hit. You know
Smash.
what I'm saying? Shit, fronting,
Hmm. That's in the top 5, no question.
that is absolutely in the top 5.
No
Whew,
question.
whew, that is a perfect song right there.
All right, what else you got in the top 5? So you got Allure, I Just
Mhm.
Want to Love You, Front.
Yep.
You got 2 more spots for Hove and Neptune's Pharrell collabs.
Hold on, let me look some up real quick. And all right, ooh, excuse me, miss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, excuse me, miss. Yeah, nah, that's definitely in my top 5. Uh, oh, I know.
It's it's bangers in there, man. It's bangers.
Oh, yeah, I'm just. Oh man.
I always put La 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 in my top 5
Oh, that's a good one too.
because he's just
That's a.
that's some raps he had left over that he was like, I got to get these off separately. Like, let me.
Oh, another good one though, Moss. So ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
So ambitious was that. Whew, they
Mm-hmm.
were in bags together on them joints. So
Yeah,
yeah, obviously, Change Clothes doesn't make the top 5.
it does not. It does not. It's ironic because there's a lot. I think there's a handful of Jay-Z albums that came in out in November. So whenever we get around November, like they're always celebrating them. Like
Yeah, bunched up.
I think
Yep.
it's Blueprint 2 and American Gangster and Black Album are all in November. But like
Yep.
talking about American Gangster, like Blue Magic
Oh yeah.
are a good song, but I feel like it doesn't get the respect because it shouldn't have been the lead single. Like
Right.
with all the great songs that was on that album, I think it was we got to get this Pharrell joint out because we know people are gonna go crazy for it. And it's not a bad song, but it's just like I feel like it could have been. It didn't need to be the single, and it would have got
Yeah,
appreciated.
I agree.
All right, so let's get to the final question, the hardest question. And
Okay.
I don't know if I have an answer for this. So let's rank the Black Album in the Jay-Z catalog
Ooh.
in 2003 and in 2023.
All right. So if it's 2003, obviously I think the two best is still Reasonable Doubt and Blueprint. Those are going to be up there.
Okay.
Um, See the thing in 2003, I don't know if Volume 1 was getting the love that it deserved back in 2003. So I don't know if it's there. It should be, but I don't know if it's there. I think Volume 2 is there because that was such a big record for him. So yeah, you got Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Volume 2. Shit, he had the Dynasty album,
And
which was
Volume.
big. So yeah, I think you can make the argument that yeah, it was definitely it was a top 5 Jay-Z project at that point. But granted, he only had like 10 projects out at that point.
I feel like in 2003, I would rank it. I would rank it. I would say at the time for me, I would rank it two behind Blueprint,
Uh-huh.
then right in front of probably right in front of Volume Two. Because for me, like I heard Reasonable Doubt, some of the songs, like I knew Dead Presidents a little bit when it first came out, but I didn't appreciate Reasonable Doubt until we were in college and I downloaded
Yeah.
it from Album Hunt or something
Yeah.
and actually burned it on a CD and started to play it up and down 64. And I was like, yo, I'd
Yeah.
rather die enormous and live dormant. That's how we on it. Live at the main event. I better trip to Maui on it. Then I realized, oh yeah, this is arguably top three.
Yeah. Nah, Reasonable Doubt is definitely one of those albums. Like, it sounds different when you listen to it at different points in your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? That album don't sound anything like I thought it did when I was 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a great album. It ages immaculately.
Yeah, for sure.
It ages immaculately. So,
So where are you putting the Black Album now in 2023 when we've and I
ooh,
feel like we gotta say when we talk about Jay-Z, when we're ranking them now, we're not including no best of both worlds. We're not including Watch the
nah.
Throne. We're not including the Carter's joint. This is Jay-Z straight up.
All right. So I got Blueprint 1. I got Reasonable Doubt 2. Bruh, I got Volume 1, 3. I got Volume 1, 3, 444.
Mm.
So I say Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, uh, 444. So what would my fifth one be? Damn, that's tough because now I got to toss up between Black Album and American Gangster.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
That's
That's
tough.
tough. I guess. Ooh, that's tough to think about not having American Gangster in the top five Jay-Z records. Cause oh my God, that is a beautiful album.
Beautiful.
Beautiful album. And like it was the great answer to, Kingdom Come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She was like, nah, man, I gotta give him something. I gotta go. And it like that album plays with the music, with the movie rather perfectly.
Perfectly.
So that was okay. So damn, bro, I may have to go Black Album number 5.
I think I agree. I don't have partially because of your high regard for it. I've spent more time with Volume One. Like
Oh yeah,
I listened to it this week. I think I listened to Lucky Me a couple times. Like,
yeah,
but Jay said this in the Gail King interview just about how he was trying to figure it out, and but he still does those songs that still ring off when we talk about
yeah.
Streets is Watching, Where I'm From.
Oof,
Those are
oof,
very important Jay-Z records that are from that album from Volume One
yeah.
that really set the tone for a lot of things. And I think most people will appreciate this. I know you'll appreciate that. Volume One is Jay-Z's season two of The Wire.
Ooh, ooh. And I'm a season 2 truther.
You
A
know
season
what
2
I'm
truther.
saying? Like season
Yeah.
two was important. And if you was paying attention, you know why. And if you wasn't, you missed it.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like that's the same vibe that you get from Volume One, what Hov was doing and what he was talking about on Volume One.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. That was what, 97? He wasn't that far removed from being in the streets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's still rap is still very, very new to him. He doesn't know if this is gonna work out just yet. So man, yeah, no, he Hove was volume one. I gotta have volume one in my top five. You know me, I'm a volume one truther. I will always be. I think that is one of the greatest rap albums of all time. But this is about the Black Album, not volume one. So
But one more thing, I loved how he said in a Gail King interview about how Streets is Watching was the last song he played for Big, and
yep.
response for it was like letting him know that he was on his way, which is dope. Dope to hear him tell that story.
It's dope because Jay has talked about how when Biggie was working on the album that became Life After Death, and like Jay and Big would talk every day. They talked every day up until the day Big passed. But Jay recalls this story where he's listening to some of these early Life After Death tracks, and he's like, "Man, what the hell? Like, really? Like that's how he coming?" He was like, that's what I gotta prepare for. So like those two were like so competitive with each other, but they were just like super cool about it at the same time. So Big news, like, damn, that's how you rapping on this joint. And so like Jay looking at Big, like, that's how you rapping? Like, is man, just one of those great like partnerships that we were really, 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 really robbed of over the years. Cause I think they would have done a project. They would have done a project together, the commission. So
Every time, every time I go back and listen to that playlist that we made when we did the features battle,
yeah.
Love the Dough is I could listen to Love the Dough on repeat, bro.
Play Monopoly with real cash.
Brooklyn style, baby.
The
Yo,
oh
man.
man, yeah, no, they like between it was I Love the Dough, Brooklyn's Finest, Young G's,
Mm-hmm.
and damn, did they have one more together? Brooklyn's Finest, I Love the Dough, Young G's. Man, but either way, just go off those three.
Right.
You listen to they're going neck and neck at each other. Like they're not wasting like any bars. So
So I guess I got it. Let me do my ranking. Okay.
all right. Yeah.
So 2023 for me, Jay-Z albums. I'm sticking with Reasonable Doubt. I'm going Blueprint 1,
One,
Reasonable Doubt. And
two.
I go, I think for me, I go American Gangster 3,
Not mad at that.
Black Album 4, and then 444 5.
I'm not mad at that. That's an extremely tough ranking right there. So you said Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt, American Gangster, Black Album,
Then
four,
444. And I could, for me, 6 is because I think that we both agree that Volume 2 is important just because it has so many hits.
yeah.
Like, so
Styles
many
and
of those
to a
songs
superstar.
are everywhere,
Yeah,
everywhere in that
yeah,
time. And I think, and for us too, right? Like that's a quintessential time where we're growing up in life and we're growing up in hip hop exposure too. So like to have all of those songs be radio records or like,
yeah,
Johnny Cash Hose in the movies on BT for the remix and the video from the Corruptor movie, like all of that, like
yeah,
all that being pushed on us was like why a lot of those songs and specifically those popular songs from Volume 2 stand out because of the time when we were really being molded as
yeah,
young coming up in life, but also in music taste.
yeah. And I mean, 98 was the year
Was
that
it
changed
here?
Jay-Z's life, what crazy is he wasn't even the MVP that year. DMX was.
Yeah.
DMX dropped two number one albums in 1998.
Uh,
Like Jay's been around some serious heavy hitters over the course of his career.
yeah, man.
No.
And anyone who always talks about Jay-Z hasn't been the best rapper a year in his whole career, it's like, does that matter? Does it really matter? Like, if he's the best rapper of all time, I'd rather be the best rapper of all time than the best rapper of 1999. Like,
Right. No, I feel you on that. I feel you. His longevity is second to none. His longevity is wild.
crazy, crazy, crazy. If y'all haven't checked it out already, make sure to go read my man Justin's article, The Enduring Allure of Jay-Z's The Black Album on ESPN Andscape. Came out this week in commemoration of the 20th anniversary. My brother, appreciate you being on the show today, man.
Hey man, it's always love, man. I love being on this podcast, so I look forward to future visits. Next one we got to do in person,
Oh yeah, man. We
like how we did. Yeah, where were we? That
we was in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We was in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Tell the people what you got coming up, what you working on.
So I'm trying to work on some Super Bowl related stuff around Usher. So I'm trying to work on some stories there. I'll give you some more information when I actually have more information to give, but we're in the very early stages of that. Yeah, man, just around the horn doing things, trying to do that as much as possible. Just that's where you can find me. But those are like the big projects. And within the next couple of weeks, I hope to at least have an idea of what my second book will be about. Because as of right now, I do not have an idea.
Oh man.
Need to though.
We know it's gonna be a banger though, Tens. We know. We already know.
Hey man, that's what I try. That's what I strive for.
We already know. All right, bro. Good to see you. Tell Jade and Huey TSL was good.
Most def.
All the listeners, appreciate y'all checking out another episode of Neptune Sunday. It's your boy V Moss. Peace and love.